The silver starship cut through Earth's atmosphere like a knife through butter, leaving trails of iridescent light in its wake. News channels worldwide erupted in chaos as billions watched the first confirmed alien contact in human history. Or so they thought. Admiral Park Cook stood motionless on the Seoul International Airport's special landing pad, his weathered face betraying no emotion despite the historic moment unfolding before him. Beside him, President Kim Dae fidgeted with his tie, a nervous habit that Park had noticed during their many meetings over the years. The massive crowd of reporters behind the security barrier fell silent as the alien vessel, nearly 400 meters long, settled onto the landing pad with surprising grace. Its silver surface rippled like liquid metal, reflecting the morning sun in ways that made it painful to look at directly. "They're exactly on time," President Kim muttered, checking his watch. "At least they're punctual." Park didn't respond. His attention was fixed on the ship's hull, studying its design. After 40 years in Earth's combined naval forces, he had developed an eye for vessels of war. This one, despite its elegant appearance, had weapon ports carefully concealed beneath its flowing lines. He counted at least 12 that would be invisible to anyone who hadn't spent decades studying military spacecraft design. A seam appeared in the ship's side, widening into a ramp that extended to the ground. The assembled human dignitaries held their breath as the first aliens emerged into Earth's sunlight. Ambassador Ven led the delegation, his tall, crystalline form catching the light and sending rainbow reflections across the tarmac. Behind him came 6 other aliens of various species, a calculated display of the Galactic Coalition's diversity, Park thought cynically. "Welcome to Earth," President Kim said, stepping forward with his arms spread in a gesture of friendship. "We are honored by your presence." The alien ambassador's translator, a small device floating near his head, converted his crystalline chimes into smooth English. "The honor is ours, President Kim. We have watched your world's development with great interest." Park's jaw tightened at the condescending tone. He'd heard similar words before, in Earth's own history, usually before one nation attempted to colonize another. The initial greetings gave way to a procession into the specially prepared conference center. Park walked slightly behind President Kim, watching as Ambassador Ven's crystalline head turned to observe everything with obvious curiosity. Or was it calculation? During the preliminary meetings, the ambassador's delegation presented their credentials and explained their purpose. The Galactic Coalition, they claimed, was a peaceful federation of over 300 species, dedicated to helping developing civilizations join the greater galactic community. "Your recent achievements in faster-than-light travel have brought you to our attention," Ambassador Ven said, his crystalline form catching the light from the conference room's windows. "We believe Earth is ready for guidance." Park noticed how the ambassador's eyes, or what passed for eyes in his crystalline face, kept drifting to the data tablets showing Earth's natural resources, industrial capacity, and population centers. Each lingering glance set off more alarm bells in Park's mind. "We offer protection," the ambassador continued, "from the more aggressive species in our galaxy. In return, we ask only for fair trade agreements and the opportunity to help guide your development." President Kim and the other world leaders present seemed impressed, even relieved. Park understood their reaction. The universe was vast and potentially hostile, and here was an advanced civilization offering friendship and protection. But something felt wrong. The offers were too generous, the terms too vague, the promises too grand. Park had seen similar diplomatic maneuvers in his military career, usually preceding attempts at economic or political domination. As the meeting concluded for the day, Park slipped away from the crowd of excited politicians and diplomats. In a quiet corner of the conference center, he pulled out his secure phone and contacted a number he hadn't used in years. Lee Jin answered on the first ring. "I was wondering when you'd call." "You're watching the broadcasts?" Park asked, keeping his voice low. "Every second. Your thoughts?" Park glanced around to ensure he was alone. They're lying, or at least not telling the whole truth. The ship is armed to the teeth, hidden weapon ports everywhere. And the way they look at our resource reports. Like wolves eyeing sheep, Lee finished. We've seen this before, haven't we? Yes, Park said, remembering the classified files they'd both spent decades studying. It's time, Jin. We can't wait any longer. There was a pause on the other end of the line. When Lee spoke again, her voice was firm with resolve. I'll activate the protocols. How long do you need? Park watched through a window as Ambassador Ven's crystalline form glinted in the setting sun, surrounded by eager human politicians. Give me 48 hours to gather more intelligence. Then we show them what humanity is really capable of. Understood. The hidden fleet will be ready. Park ended the call and straightened his uniform. Tomorrow, the real negotiations would begin, and Earth would have to play its part carefully. The Galactic Coalition thought they were dealing with a naive, developing world. Soon, they would learn just how wrong they were. Hidden beneath Earth's oceans, ancient engines began to warm up, and million-year-old technologies awakened from their slumber. Humanity's greatest secret was about to shock the galaxy. The ocean depths held secrets that would make the galaxy tremble. 20 kilometers beneath the Pacific surface, in a facility larger than most cities, Li Jin walked through the central control room of Base Eternal. The transparent quantum steel walls gave her a clear view of the endless lines of warships stretching into the darkness, their sleek forms illuminated by the soft blue glow of underwater lights. Each vessel represented the pinnacle of human engineering, enhanced by technologies reverse-engineered from the wreckage of an alien scout ship that had crashed near modern-day Korea in 1742. That incident had changed the course of human history, though only a select few knew the truth. Lee stopped at the main observation window, watching the automated maintenance drones swarm around a massive dreadnought. The ship's dark hull seemed to swallow light itself, a product of stealth technology that even the Galactic Coalition couldn't detect. She remembered her grandfather's stories about the early days, when humanity first began building this hidden fleet. Commander Song Min, she called out, her voice steady despite the weight of responsibility pressing down on her shoulders. Show me the latest status reports. Song Min's fingers danced across the holographic controls, bringing up detailed displays that filled the air around them. The numbers are impressive, Director Lee. 1 million ships, all fully operational. The quantum drives are performing at 118% of design capacity. Our engineers have been busy with upgrades. Lee studied the scrolling data with practiced eyes. The weapon systems made her smile grimly. Their latest quantum phase cannons could pierce any known shield technology, and their defensive systems were generations ahead of anything the Coalition had shown. And the crews? She asked, though she already knew the answer. All personnel are at their designated posts, cryogenically preserved but ready for instant revival. The AI systems are maintaining optimal conditions. Song Min paused, then added, they've been waiting a long time for this moment. Lee nodded, remembering how their organization had recruited the best and brightest throughout history, offering them a chance to be part of humanity's secret defense force. Millions of volunteers had entered the cryogenic chambers, ready to awaken when Earth needed them most. A priority alert flashed across their screens. Han Ju, their chief intelligence analyst, was requesting an emergency conference. Lee authorized the connection, and Han's serious face appeared on the main display. Director Lee, Commander Song. Han began without preamble. I've completed my analysis of the Coalition's historical data. It's worse than we suspected. Han shared his screen, showing a map of the galaxy with 27 worlds highlighted in red. These are the civilizations the Coalition has guided in the past century. In every case, the pattern is identical. They arrive as friends, offering protection and technological advancement. Within decades, they control the planet's resources, economy, and military. Lee watched as Han displayed images of once proud civilizations reduced to resource extraction colonies. Their method is subtle but effective. They introduce addictive luxury goods, create dependency on Coalition technology, and gradually replace local governments with puppet leaders. Show me their military response to resistance, Lee ordered. New images appeared, showing the aftermath of coalition, peacekeeping operations. Entire continents turned to glass, orbiting shipyards reduced to debris fields. Any world that tries to break free faces overwhelming force, Han explained. The coalition maintains power through fear as much as economic control. Song Min studied the casualty figures with a clenched jaw. They're not just conquerors, they're parasites. Exactly, Han agreed. And now they're here for Earth. Their diplomatic team has already requested access to our major mineral deposits and industrial centers for inspection. Lee turned back to the window, watching her fleet of ships waiting in the darkness. For centuries, they had hidden and prepared, building forces that could challenge any threat to Earth. The coalition thought they were dealing with a primitive world, ripe for conquest. They had no idea they were walking into a trap centuries in the making. Han, she said, prepare your evidence for presentation to the Emergency Council. They need to understand exactly what we're dealing with. She turned to Song Min. Begin revival sequences for the first wave of crew members. It's time to wake our sleeping warriors. Yes, Director, both officers responded in unison. As alerts began sounding throughout the underwater base, Lee felt the weight of history on her shoulders. Countless generations had worked in secret to prepare for this moment, sacrificing normal lives to protect humanity's future. Soon, the galaxy would learn that appearances could be deceiving, and that humanity was far from helpless. They think we're primitive, she said softly, watching as the first cryogenic pods began their revival sequences. Let them keep thinking that. For now. Deep beneath the Pacific, humanity's hidden fleet waited in the darkness, ready to shock a galaxy that had grown too comfortable with conquest. The Emergency Council chamber was silent as Hanju stood before the world's most powerful leaders. His hands didn't shake as he activated the holographic display, though the weight of what he was about to reveal made his heart race. The gathered officials leaned forward in their seats, their faces illuminated by the soft blue glow of classified coalition data. What I'm about to show you will change everything we thought we knew about the Galactic Coalition. Han began, his voice steady. The first images appeared, beautiful worlds reduced to mining wastelands. Over the past century, they've conquered 27 civilizations, not through war, but through something far more insidious. President Kim Dae's face darkened as he studied the evidence. Explain. Han brought up a timeline of a world called Proxima Beta. This was their first target, a peaceful civilization, slightly less advanced than Earth. The coalition arrived as friends. He showed images of grand ceremonies, alien diplomats shaking hands with local leaders. Within 5 years, they had exclusive mining rights to the planet's rare minerals. Within 10, they controlled the orbital shipping lanes. By year 20, the original government was gone, replaced by coalition-approved officials. Admiral Park Kuk stood up, his military uniform crisp despite the late hour. Show them Rigel 9. The images shifted to another world, this one a lush garden planet. Rigel 9 was rich in biological resources, Han continued. The coalition introduced their medical technology, miracle cures for local diseases. But the medicines were deliberately addictive. When the planet tried to develop their own pharmaceutical industry, the coalition blocked it, citing safety concerns. The council chamber erupted in angry murmurs. Han waited for them to quiet before continuing. But here's what the coalition doesn't want anyone to know. He displayed new data, showing civil unrest on multiple worlds. 3 of their subject planets are in open rebellion. The coalition's control is slipping. Which ones? Someone asked from the back. Proxima Beta, Tau CD4, and Epsilon In2. They've discovered ways to resist the coalition's control. Their people are fighting back, and the coalition is struggling to maintain order. Li Jin, who had been quietly observing from a corner, stepped forward. This matches our historical analysis. The scout ship we captured in 1742. It wasn't just exploring. It was mapping Earth for future conquest. The room fell silent again as the implications sank in. Han brought up the Coalition's current diplomatic requests to Earth. Look at the pattern. They're already asking for mining rights, technology sharing agreements, and control of orbital spaces. It's the same strategy they've used 27 times before. Admiral Park pointed to specific clauses in the agreements. These protection treaties would give them the right to station warships in our system. The technology sharing would make us dependent on their systems. Within a generation, they'd control everything from our resources to our defense capabilities. But we have an advantage, Han said, his voice growing stronger. They don't know about our hidden fleet. They don't know we've been preparing for this moment for centuries. And most importantly, they don't know we've already surpassed their technology in many areas. Li Jin moved to the center of the room, her presence commanding attention. She activated her secure communicator, speaking clearly into it. Attention all hidden bases. This is Director Li Jin. Protocol Phoenix is now active. Prepare for emergence. Authorization code Echo 79 Delta Phoenix. Acknowledgement signals flashed across her screen as bases hidden under every major ocean confirmed receipt of her orders. Deep beneath the waves, massive engines began powering up, and cryogenic pods started their revival sequences. Ladies and gentlemen, Li addressed the Council. In 48 hours, we will reveal humanity's true strength to the galaxy. The Coalition thinks they're dealing with an easy target. They're about to learn how wrong they are. President Kim stood, his decision made. How do we proceed? We play along. Admiral Park said. Let them think their deception is working. Meanwhile, we'll coordinate with the rebel worlds. When we reveal our fleet, we'll give hope to every enslaved civilization in the galaxy. Han brought up one final image, a map showing Coalition fleet movements. They're already positioning ships near our system, hidden behind the outer planets. They're preparing for either our submission or our resistance. They're about to discover that humanity doesn't submit, Li Jin said firmly. And we're not just fighting for Earth. We're fighting for every world they've enslaved. As the Emergency Council began planning Earth's response, signals raced through quantum channels to hidden bases across the planet. Humanity's greatest secret was about to be revealed, and the galaxy would never be the same. Protocol Phoenix was active. The time for hiding was over. The morning sun rose over Seoul to witness history being made. The first signs came as tremors, felt worldwide, as though Earth itself was shaking. Then the oceans began to churn, creating massive whirlpools and waves that defied natural patterns. People gathered at coastlines across the globe, pointing at the strange disturbances in the water. Ambassador Ven stood at the window of his diplomatic suite in Seoul's highest tower, his crystalline form trembling as he watched the Pacific Ocean begin to boil. The sight before him defied everything he thought he knew about Earth. Massive structures were rising from the depths, each one larger than the greatest cities he had ever seen. His aide burst into the room, panic evident in their movement. Ambassador. Our sensors, they're detecting energy signatures unlike anything in our database. Before Ven could respond, the ocean parted like a curtain. A vast platform emerged, water cascading off its surface in massive waterfalls. Then came the ships. Endless rows of them, their dark hulls seeming to absorb light itself. They rose into the sky with impossible grace, their size dwarfing anything the Coalition had ever built. Get me Coalition command, Ven ordered, his translator struggling to convert his agitated crystalline tones. Emergency priority. As he waited for the connection, more ships continued to emerge. They came in all sizes, from nimble fighters to massive dreadnoughts that stretched for kilometers. Their designs were elegant yet clearly built for war, incorporating technologies that shouldn't exist on a primitive world. The holographic display flickered to life, showing the concerned faces of Coalition High Command. Ambassador Ven, report. Our long-range sensors are showing impossible readings from Earth. It's not impossible, Ven said, his voice shaking. "I'm watching it with my own sensors. Their fleet, it rivals our entire military force. No, it exceeds it. The humans, they've been hiding this from us. From everyone." Commander Song Min stood on the bridge of the flagship Eternal Dawn as it rose from its underwater berth. She watched with pride as her fleet took formation, their quantum shields creating a subtle distortion in the air. Each ship was a masterpiece of engineering, combining human ingenuity with technologies reverse-engineered from that long-ago crashed scout ship. "All ships report ready," her tactical officer announced. "Quantum drives at full power, weapon systems online, shield matrices operating at optimal capacity." Song nodded, then opened a channel to Admiral Park. "Admiral, the fleet is yours to command." In Seoul, Admiral Park stood in the military command center, watching as screens showed similar scenes playing out in every ocean. The hidden fleet was revealing itself worldwide, rising from secret bases that had been prepared for centuries. "Begin formation, Phoenix," he ordered. The ships responded instantly, moving with precision that spoke of countless drills and simulations. They formed a massive defensive sphere around Earth, their quantum shields linking together to create an impenetrable barrier. Ambassador Ven watched in growing horror as his sensors tried and failed to penetrate the shield network. The human ships were using technology that made his most advanced scanning systems return nothing but confused static. Then Admiral Park's voice boomed across all frequencies, in every language. "To the Galactic Coalition and all watching species. For centuries, we have hidden our true capabilities, watching as you subjugated world after world. We know your true intentions for Earth. We have seen the fate of 27 civilizations who trusted your false promises. Earth will not submit." The coalition ships hidden behind Mars and Jupiter began to move, their cover blown. But they found themselves suddenly surrounded by human vessels that had quantum jumped to their position without warning. "Your fleet is surrounded," Park continued. "You have 1 standard hour to recall all coalition forces from Earth's solar system. Any hostile action will be met with overwhelming force." Commander Song watched from her bridge as the coalition ships scrambled to make sense of the situation. Their sensors were useless against Earth's quantum technology. Their weapons couldn't lock onto targets protected by fields their systems couldn't even detect. "They're powering up weapons," her tactical officer reported. Song allowed herself a small smile. "Let them try. Our shields were designed to handle much worse than anything they can throw at us." In his diplomatic suite, Ambassador Ven realized that centuries of coalition strategy had just crumbled to dust. They had come expecting to find another primitive world to slowly dominate. Instead, they had stumbled upon a sleeping giant, one that had spent centuries preparing for this very moment. The oceans finally calmed as the last hidden bases emerged. Earth's secret was now revealed to the galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same. The grand chambers of the Galactic Council glittered like a field of stars, with representatives from 300 worlds gathered in their floating pods. Li Jin stood at the central podium, her simple Earth military uniform a stark contrast to the elaborate costumes of the alien diplomats. The evidence she carried would shake the foundations of the coalition's power. "Honorable representatives," she began, her voice carried clearly through the translation fields. "Earth comes before you not as a primitive world seeking guidance, but as a witness to centuries of deception." She activated the holographic display, and the chamber filled with images that made many representatives recoil in horror. "These are the true faces of coalition control," Li continued, showing scenes of once beautiful worlds stripped of resources, their populations working in vast mining complexes. 27 civilizations, each promised friendship and protection. Each slowly stripped of their independence, their resources, their very souls. Coalition Supreme Leader San, his crystalline form towering over most other representatives, moved his pod forward. "These are lies. Earth seeks to destabilize the peace we have maintained for centuries." "Peace." A new voice cut through the chamber. Representative Kang Yu of Proxima Beta rose in his pod, his scaled skin reflecting the chamber's light. My world was the first to fall to your peace. We were a free people once, before your protection turned us into slaves in all but name. The chamber erupted in murmurs as Kang Yu continued. Everything Earth shows is true. I have seen it with my own eyes. My grandfather told me stories of our independence, before the Coalition's trade agreements made us dependent on their technology. Hanju, working from a secure station on Earth, watched the Council proceedings while coordinating with his intelligence network. Reports were flooding in from across the galaxy as his agents released carefully preserved evidence on every Coalition-controlled world. Director Lee, he transmitted, the data is spreading faster than the Coalition can suppress it. Riots have broken out on 7 subjugated worlds. Their control is slipping. In the Council chamber, more representatives began to speak up. The representative from Tau Ceti 4 revealed hidden records of Coalition threats against their world. The delegate from Epsilon Ind 2 described how Coalition advisors had gradually replaced their entire government. Supreme Leader Xan's crystalline form began to show stress fractures, a sign of extreme agitation in his species. These are internal matters. Earth has no right to interfere in Coalition administration. We have every right. Lee responded calmly, activating a new holographic display. Because your empire was built on a lie. Show them, Commander Song. The chamber's main display filled with a live feed from Earth orbit, where humanity's hidden fleet hung in formation. The sight of so many advanced warships caused an immediate uproar. This is the truth you tried to hide, Lee declared. Humanity hasn't been primitive for centuries. We captured one of your scout ships in 1742, learned your true intentions, and prepared accordingly. While you thought we were developing simple rocket technology, we were building a fleet that could challenge your entire armada. Representative after representative began announcing their independence from Coalition control. Worlds that had suffered under centuries of economic domination saw hope in Earth's revelation. The Coalition's empire, built on deception and gradual conquest, was crumbling before their eyes. Hanju's voice came through Lee's secure communicator again. Director, we're detecting Coalition military movements near several rebel worlds. They're preparing to use force to maintain control. Lee's voice cut through the chaos in the chamber. To any world that seeks freedom, Earth stands ready to help defend your independence. Our fleet is already moving to protect worlds that choose to break free from Coalition control. Supreme Leader Xan's voice boomed with rage. You dare threaten the established order? The Coalition maintains stability. No, Lee replied firmly. You maintain control through fear and dependence. That ends today. Earth proposes a new alliance, one of truly free and equal worlds. No more guidance, no more protection. Just mutual respect and genuine cooperation. As if to emphasize her point, the lights in the chamber flickered as Earth ships quantum jumped into position near every Coalition military installation across the galaxy. The message was clear. The time of hidden strength was over. The Coalition's grip on power was slipping away with each passing moment. More representatives stood to denounce their former masters, encouraged by Earth's show of strength and support. A new order was emerging from the ashes of the old, and the galaxy would never be the same. Hanju watched from Earth as his intelligence networks reported more and more worlds declaring independence. The Coalition's carefully constructed empire was falling apart, unable to maintain control now that their victims knew they weren't alone in their resistance. The time for diplomatic chess was ending. Soon, the Coalition would have to choose. Accept their loss of power gracefully, or resort to force, and face the consequences. The stars above Earth rippled as thousands of Coalition warships tore through hyperspace. Their arrival darkened the sky like an artificial eclipse, a show of force meant to crush Earth's rebellion before it could spread further. Supreme Leader Xan had ordered his entire First Fleet to make an example of the upstart world. From his command center in Seoul, Admiral Park watched the Coalition ships take formation. Their fleet was impressive. 10,000 ships arranged in traditional combat patterns that had conquered dozens of worlds. But Park merely smiled as he gave the order everyone had trained centuries for. "All ships, engage according to Protocol Phoenix," he commanded, his voice steady. "Show them what humanity can do." Commander Song stood on the bridge of the Eternal Dawn, her flagship's quantum systems humming with power. "Battle formations confirmed. All ships report ready." She watched as her display showed Earth's hidden fleet moving into position, their advanced drives allowing them to maneuver in ways the Coalition had never seen. The Coalition struck first, their energy weapons lighting up space like artificial suns. But their attacks splashed harmlessly against Earth's quantum shields, the technology so advanced it appeared to bend reality itself around the protected ships. "Return fire," Song ordered. "Target their command ships first." Earth's quantum weapons activated, sending beams of energy that simply ignored the Coalition's strongest shields. The first volley alone disabled 30 capital ships, their systems overloaded by technology they couldn't comprehend. Impossible. The Coalition Admiral's frustrated transmission echoed across all channels. "Their weapons, they're piercing our best defenses." Li Jin coordinated the larger battle from Base Eternal, now floating proudly on the Pacific surface. Her screen showed not just the battle above Earth, but conflicts erupting across the galaxy as subjugated worlds seized their chance for freedom. "Status report from the rebel worlds," her aide announced. "Proxima Beta has taken control of their orbital defenses. Tau CD4 has captured 3 Coalition bases. Epsilon Ind 2 reports their entire sector is now free of Coalition forces." The space above Earth had become a graveyard of Coalition ships. Their proud fleet, which had terrorized the galaxy for centuries, found itself outmaneuvered and outgunned at every turn. Earth's vessels seemed to dance between their shots, quantum drives allowing them to appear and disappear at will. Commander Song led a devastating attack run on the Coalition flagship. "All ships, execute Maneuver 7, she ordered. Her battle group quantum jumped in perfect synchronization, appearing at different angles around their target. Their combined fire reduced the massive vessel to drifting debris in seconds. "Coalition fleet is in full retreat," her tactical officer reported. "They've lost 40% of their ships. The rest are attempting emergency hyperspace jumps." But Admiral Park wasn't finished. "Don't let them regroup. Execute Phase 2. Earth's fleet split into predetermined groups, quantum jumping to Coalition strongholds across the galaxy. What the Coalition had intended as a swift punishment of Earth had become a coordinated revolution, with advanced human ships appearing wherever oppressed worlds fought for freedom. Li Jin's voice carried across all frequencies, reaching every world in the galaxy. "To all peoples fighting for independence, you are not alone. Earth stands with you. The time of Coalition dominance is over." The response was overwhelming. Worlds that had suffered under Coalition control for generations rose up, their resistance forces coordinating with Earth's fleet. Coalition bases fell one after another, their defenders unable to cope with the combined assault of human technology and local rebellion. Commander Song watched from her bridge as another Coalition battle group tried to rally near Jupiter. "They still don't understand," she said quietly. "We didn't just build better weapons, we reinvented warfare itself." Her ships demonstrated this by executing maneuvers that defied conventional space combat doctrine. The quantum drives allowed them to fight in 4 dimensions, appearing where they were least expected, striking from impossible angles, and vanishing before the enemy could respond. In Seoul, Admiral Park received reports from across the galaxy. Coalition forces were surrendering en masse, their will to fight broken by the revelation of Earth's true power. The empire that had dominated the galaxy through subtle manipulation now found itself unable to maintain control through direct force. "Send word to all fleet commands," he ordered. "Assist any world requesting help, but do not occupy. This is a war of liberation, not conquest." The battle for freedom had become a revolution, spreading across the stars at quantum speed. Humanity had hidden its strength for centuries, preparing for this moment. Now, the galaxy was witnessing the birth of a new era, one where no species would dominate another through deception or force. The Coalition's mighty fleet retreated in disarray, leaving behind the wreckage of their pride and power. Earth's hidden fleet emerged from the shadows of history to shine as a beacon of hope for all oppressed worlds. The age of secrets was over. The age of freedom had begun. Sunlight streamed through the crystalline dome of the new Galactic Council chambers in Seoul, casting rainbow patterns across the assembled representatives from over 500 worlds. The building itself was a marvel of human and alien engineering, combining Earth's quantum technology with architectural styles from across the galaxy. It stood as a symbol of the new era, one of true cooperation and shared progress. Admiral Park walked slowly to the central podium, his hair now white with age, but his eyes still sharp with the same determination that had helped guide humanity through its greatest challenge. Beside him, Li Jin carried the document that would shape the galaxy's future, the new Galactic Charter. "Look around you," Park began, his voice carrying to every corner of the vast chamber. "A year ago, many of your worlds lived under Coalition control. Today, you sit here as equals, free to choose your own path forward." The assembled representatives, each wearing their world's traditional dress, listened intently. Among them sat former Coalition worlds, now free, alongside ancient independent civilizations that had watched the recent revolution with amazement. Han Mi, daughter of the legendary intelligence chief Hanju, stood near the Earth delegation. At 32, she represented the new generation that would guide humanity's relationship with the galaxy. Her father had helped expose the Coalition's deceptions. Now she would help build something better in its place. "For centuries, Earth kept its true capabilities hidden," Park continued. "We built our fleet in secret, developed technologies in silence, and waited. Not out of fear, but because we knew the galaxy wasn't ready for sudden change. We learned this from the Coalition's scout ship that crashed on our world in 1742. Commander Song, her uniform bearing new insignia of the Combined Defense Fleet, nodded from her position near the chamber's entrance. Her ships now patrolled trade routes across the galaxy, not as conquerors but as peacekeepers, ensuring that no world would ever again face exploitation or forced submission. Li Jin stepped forward, unfolding the charter on the crystal podium. "This document," she said, "represents something unprecedented in galactic history. Not an empire, not a coalition of convenience, but a true partnership of equals. Every world maintains its independence while contributing to our shared security and prosperity." The charter's main points appeared on floating displays throughout the chamber. Free trade without exploitation. Shared defense without domination. Technology exchange without dependency. The principles Earth had dreamed of for centuries, now made real across the stars. Representatives came forward one by one to sign. The delegate from Proxima Beta, once the Coalition's first victim, signed first. Then came others, former Coalition worlds, independent systems, even former Coalition member species who had chosen to join the new alliance. Han Mi watched with pride as her father's work bore fruit. The intelligence networks he had built continued to monitor the galaxy, not for control but to prevent any new power from rising to dominate others. She thought of her childhood, hearing his stories of secret preparations and hidden strength, never fully understanding until now. "The age of secrecy is over," Admiral Park declared after the last signature was recorded. "Earth's quantum technology, our medical advances, our scientific discoveries, all will be shared, not as tools of control, but as gifts freely given to benefit all." Commander Song's voice came through the chamber's communication system. "The Combined Defense Fleet reports all sectors secure. Former Coalition military assets have been either decommissioned or transferred to local control. The galaxy is at peace." The assembled representatives broke into applause, some clapping, others expressing joy in their own species' ways. The sound echoed through the chamber like a wave of hope. Li Jin looked out over the gathering, remembering the long centuries of preparation that had led to this moment. "We proved that appearances can be deceiving," she said quietly to Park. "But more importantly, we proved that patience and wisdom can overcome even the greatest tyranny." As the new Galactic Council prepared for its first official session, Earth's hidden fleet continued its patrol of the stars. But now they flew openly, their quantum drives no longer a secret, their crews no longer hidden. They had become guardians rather than warriors, protecting the peace they had helped create. The galaxy had indeed learned its lesson. Power could corrupt, but wisdom and preparation could overcome even the most entrenched oppression. Earth had risen from apparent primitive status to become not a new empire, but a guardian of freedom. And in doing so, they had changed the course of galactic history forever.